Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for podcast number 33. And we're going to do something different today.
That's
in particular
right.
because
crazy.
This is kind of prep work for us getting ready for next month, which is where things are going to get a little bit crazy.
So, a little bit mad.
Yes, in particular this month we're going to have things start to get a little bit on the losing semblance of sanity side of things.
This is the practice.
So, we're doing a game, guys, kicking this off with a whole sequence of just random events. And first off, we have Guess the Waifu.
That's right.
Jacob and I are playing against each other, and we're going to have a waifu that we're going to try and make the other person guess, giving them hints that descend in difficulty from most difficult to very easy. Are you ready, Jacob?
Yes.
All right, I don't think you are, because my first clue for my waifu for you is boots on the ground.
Next.
No.
Okay.
No. The next clue is Iron Pride.
I have no clue.
The next clue is Cold Terror.
Olivier Armstrong.
You are correct, yes.
Yes!
Yes. Next clue is Survival of the Fittest. And the final clue is the waifu powers passed down the Armstrong family from generation to generation.
Alright, I like it.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay. Okay, so now, mine. I almost feel like maybe these are a little bit harder than the ones that you got. But, okay, so for this one, first clue. Really tough cosplay.
Arachne from Soul Eater.
No. Next one. Very low screen time.
Mina Ashido from My Hero Academia.
No. Next one. Notice me, senpai.
I have no idea.
Next one. Very tasteful fan service.
I'm clueless. No.
Okay.
What?
Next one. Simple, almost, or lack of design. Okay, well.
You're really bad at this.
I'm really
You're
bad
really bad
Invisible
at this.
Girl.
Invisible Girl.
I tried to make them all be along like a theme of like, you know, trying to...
You suck. You suck at this.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this. Okay.
And you know what's funny about waifus, Jacob?
What, Caleb?
Seamless transition here.
That's right.
We have a much bigger appreciation for the moms of anime than we do.
the true heroes.
So, if you had to choose amongst these three moms from anime to adopt you, which would you choose and debate why they would be the best?
Yes.
Hana from Wolf Children, Sachiko from Erase, and Izumi Curtis from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
That is an excellent question. I mean, okay. I love Wolf Children, so it's kind of like, okay, it's obviously Hana. Like, that's, like, I have to say that. As awesome as Sachiko is, and as awesome as Izumi Curtis is, I have to say that. Here's why.
Yeah.
She has, like, the most mental fortitude out of, like, basically any mother.
Sachiko has more mental fortitude than that. She hung by her kid
for
near, like, a decade.
By the way, spoilers. Okay.
And mental fortitude. Izumi Curtis lost her child and went to try and do human transmutation to bring the child back and kept fighting on.
Hana lost her husband, had to raise her two kids by herself.
Losing a kid is way harder than losing.
Growing her own crops.
And
farming the land. Yeah.
But you would specifically want Hana to adopt you because mental fortitude.
Basically, she's just awesome. She would be so encouraging. She would be so encouraging. It would be awesome. Whereas I feel like
see. Okay. Here's where I'm gonna cut you in right here now, Jacob.
Yeah.
Sachiko, in and of her own character, destroys Hana with mental fortitude.
Okay.
In and of her own character, it is not given as much screen time as the one who I'm building up towards. Sachiko, in particular, already has a kid. And is therefore not going to be able to devote as much time to adopting you as she would be if it was someone else. Hana also has kids that are on her mind, more priority than you. You might be able to help her. Yes, that's true. So, that's true. You know. But Izumi Curtis has no kids. and you would be able to get along with her just fine, not only from the child-to-mother relationship, but also as a peer-to-peer relationship.
Okay, fair enough.
She would
that
take
is a
you
very
in
strong
and
argument.
teach you alchemy. She would teach you the ways of the world in particular.
Her husband
would be
teach
an
me
awesome
how to lift
dad.
and all that. Yeah.
Yep. I'm thinking
would
Izumi Curtis.
she also be able to teach alchemy? Like, would that be a thing that she could teach you? Because
Potentially.
Because that would kind of help.
You don't know. You're going to be in this world, so
yeah, that's true. Well, or is she just like transported this world? It's really tough. It was really unclear. Okay, next one.
Okay, we need to do a battle that's way less effeminate because we appreciate the female characters that provide that support in the life. But we need some machismo.
Yes,
we need some testosterone.
Some testosterone up in
All right, segue perfectly into.
Imagine this.
Yes.
A battle royale with all the most inspirational and manly characters from anime.
Yes, you have Reagan.
That's
you have
right.
All Might. You have Iroh.
You have Kamina.
Yes.
You have Broskandar, and you have Speedwagon.
Only the manliest and the most wise and inspirational of characters.
That's right.
That have a Y chromosome.
Yes, and I would say one of the reasons why this would make for one of the most spectacular battle royales ever is because the dialogue would be golden. It would be superb. You would be able to have battles between these characters, and they would just end up encouraging each other.
Yes,
they would give each other life tips.
They would like have a wisdom battle off where Iroh would be delving into the deep recesses of his experiences and releasing out these poems of just pure just gold, and Broskandar would flex every muscle in his body and display his kingly prowess, and then Speedwagon would orate the entire event as it was happening.
And do you know why this would be one of the best battle royales ever?
Why is that?
Is because they would actually come together. The battle royale would end with them actually joining forces and turning against whatever force put them into this battle royale. And by the very power of their positivity, exposition, and manliness, they would overthrow whatever force.
So what you're saying is their drill would pierce the heavens?
Basically.
My God.
Yes.
It's too much. And then even then, what if Reagan was at his, 1,000%
That's right.
that he was given by Mob?
Heck, even if he wasn't, he would probably be able to defeat whatever entity they were up against just by talking to it.
I don't know, though. All Might could roleplay a pretty good villain and just one-shot everyone with a one-for-all punch. You never know.
Or would he see these people and be like, yes, these are the true heroes.
I think in particular we would see a team up. See, right here in this, I see a very specific blend of the machismo, kind of the All Might, Broskandar, Kamina bit, with the wisdom mentor figures in Speedwagon, Reagan, and Iroh.
I could see
and I would see them teaming up in particular together as realizing that they come at their problems in a fundamentally different way.
Fair enough.
Some of them are louder than others, some of them are quieter than others, but fundamentally they have these core aspects of their character that they would find, I think, some great alignment. But then ultimately they would all lose to Kamina because he transcends space-time and rips the drill through time, the universe, and everything, and the battle royale's over.
Yes.
In fact, the universe basically restarts over, his machismo, and if anything, Speedwagon would be so impressed by this thing he would transcend with him and orate this and write his own voice into the laws of the universe.
Perhaps that's how we need to be talking about this and thinking about this, is that it really is determined by whoever Speedwagon perceives to be the manliest among them, and then he will exposit their way to victory.
Yes, and I believe they would be on opposite teams, Kamina on one side, Speedwagon on the other, but they would ascend to greatness
together.
Yeah. Yes, I ship it.
Okay, now, since we've all had that encouragement and building up, time to bring things down.
This is a challenge, guys.
Yes.
Jacob and I are going to up the tragedy on each other.
By the way, if you
this
haven't
is not a good transition, but we're still going to do this anyway.
That's right. So, and by the way, if you are worried about spoilers,
too late.
Too late. I'm sorry, but that's the real tragedy here.
The real tragedy, Jacob,
yes,
happens when you finish the Redford Grows and you realize both dogs died for nothing. Can you beat that?
Yes.
Oh. Oh no. No. I'm not ready.
Leaves from the vine, falling so slow.
That's a cheap tactic.
Like fragile, tiny shells.
I'm strong.
Drifting in the foam.
Alright. Monday! My treasure!
Shut up. You shut up.
I see victory.
See you around, buddy.
That was good. That was good. That was good. I appreciate that. See you around, partner. Bang.
Yeah. I was wanting to use that one.
Yeah, I can tell you want to use that one.
Okay.
Have I grasped victory?
Oh,
No.
not in the slightest.
Oh boy.
No. This is a cheap trick.
I can
but
see the
I'm
tears welling up in
good.
your eyes already. I'm thinking about killing puppies right now. I am immune.
Big brother.
My testicles are in my stomach right now.
What do you have to say against that?
I can see it. I can't do it. Yes. I can't. Dang it. Dang it, guys. Those are too good.
Okay. All right.
And
Now to help
channel that negative energy into something positive. Let us do that.
That's right.
Now,
So,
guys, you've watched them, you've endured them, you've suffered through them.
we're talking about the unintentional tragedies.
Oh yes, the tragedies of writing brought upon by writers, producers, and directors
Yes.
who are just filling out a checkbox,
Or
who have
maybe-
no real desire
or
to
maybe-
create something original.
or maybe should have sent it back to the editor one last time.
Yeah, at least a couple times.
Yes, and not and we will not name any stories, and not to rag on writers. It is like, okay, seriously, it is a crazy struggle, but that doesn't mean we can't have a little bit of fun.
We are about to mock generic shows.
And you might not even be able to tell what show we're mocking because
We're talking about
They're
the character.
generic.
We're talking about the shows with the generic characters with the sword that they point right out of their penis region. We're talking about the stories that have
they swing it this way and
Yeah,
that.
they swing it all left and right.
And by the way, this does not necessarily mean the show as a whole is generic, because
we're talking about the
wanting
protagonist.
to recruit that swinging phallic object.
Oh no,
representation.
yeah, we don't need to go into that specific with
Yeah.
that, even though I already did. Too
Yeah,
late
yeah.
for that. We're talking about the potatoes. We're talking about the main characters with about as much motivation as that specific potato trying to get
or-
water from its
Or
environment.
even less. Think like bread, but then think wet bread.
Wet white bread, like no nutritional value.
Think about the main character, where when you try to pin down what their personality is, and give just a single word,
you come up with the color of their sword.
you can't really come up with anything other than maybe the things that they do in the plot. But any kind of motivation, in fact, the character might not even know what their motivation is.
No, they might not.
Yeah.
Yes, and gotta love those sidekick female characters that come in, just, the token one specifically there
Yep.
to, provide some drama for the main character's, love interest in
Not
particular.
in anime only, by the way.
Not in anime only at all.
Or how about this? How about this? We have to build up these badass female characters,
Oh, yes.
because, as we know, female characters are very tough to do, and they're fundamentally
yes.
different from male characters because male characters
Right, you
are
can't-
the baseline.
Yeah, you cannot just write male and female characters the same
No,
way. That's
absolutely not.
absurd.
So we will make them badasses to show that they can
Yes.
compete with the men.
But
properly.
character depth?
But well, first we'll put them in a bunch of scantily clad outfits to show that
Ah,
they
yes.
embrace their femininity, and also, unleash a bunch of whoop-ass on a bunch of, nameless, faceless people. Men, usually,
yes.
to sort of show that these are strong characters. But then we'll have one or two dudes in trench coats with sunglasses show up on the scene, and all of a sudden, all the women have to bow down because they know, well, I'm a badass. Not as bad as that guy.
And we have to build up the depth of these men in trench coats. We have to give them tragic backstories.
Or
It shows
even-
their innate daddy or mommy issues. Preferably both.
If we haven't already beaten the tragic backstory horse to death.
No, I'm
with the
talking
female
about
characters.
all the way beating it to beyond dead, like 6 feet under. We keep beating it all the way down. But in particular, like the generic characters, the ones in particular, where we have that little bit of character depth in the beginning, and now we're going to extend a story out of that depth for 350 episodes for no reason other than to show colors and insanely ridiculous things.
Speaking
over
of
and over again.
colors, let's go for this one.
Okay.
Okay, all right. You have two characters in the same show. Usually they're female, but not always. And because of perhaps their school uniforms or whatever, the only way to differentiate between them is by the color of their hair, which is almost exactly the same. So you're wondering whether it's a light shade of purple or a light shade of blue to determine who is who. And it's only until like 20 episodes in when you actually realize that they do have some differences in personality, so you can tell them apart.
Or how about every generic fantasy show ever, where we have a set of characters, and in the beginning we're going to give some kind of prologue, drawn out exposition with these characters set along some grand conflict, but then for the rest of the story we're going to repeat a generic kind of formulaic conflict in an episodic way, introducing things that have no continuity into the story with no overarching character development for the purpose of leading towards a conclusion which was actually a decent potential part in the story, but they decided to space it out with a bunch of episodic nonsense before they actually make it to a point in the story that actually does anything.
Let's take a story where it's episodic, but it makes it on witty banter, and then drive it into the ground by making it so that the only progression or reason to watch the next episode is to find out what kind of sexual relations do or do not happen between two characters.
That's a thing in everything, basically.
Yes, but
All right, that's enough.
of that.
All right. Jacob and I, we've had our differences, and I
Yes.
know that we both appreciate specific shows, but like
Yes.
no shows come as generic as a particular show about high school. And oh, is she a god? Oh, is she bored? We must stop her. The end of the world. Oh, what if we do the same episode 8 times in a row?
yeah,
And-
that's
yeah.
generic.
Yeah.
You've seen that a ton of times before, good or
Yeah,
bad.
it doesn't matter whether or not I've seen it many times before. That's the kind of show in particular that needs to be
Really?
realized for what it is. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You're on thin ice, my friend.
Oh, am I? Am I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, what's your god going to do? Like smite me?
No, just write you out of existence completely.
Well, you better back off. I am backed by the Church of Madoka, and you will not I will not stand for any affront to this claim that Haruhi even is worthy to be on the same plane of existence.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Let
really.
me hear your argument then.
Oh, my argument in
Yes,
particular?
for why this person that no one even knows exists is actually
Madoka
God.
gave her life for all of us. Have you had to deal with any witches in your life?
No.
You're welcome.
Touche.
Yes, yes.
Well, how about
What do
this?
you have?
Well, here's one thing I do have. All right. Madoka may have gotten rid of the witches, but wasn't there like some stand-in that was immediately thrown in there that's basically witches, even though they're not really? So even though Madoka did sacrifice herself to get rid of the witches, it didn't really change anything.
But at least our god did something and made a promise to all of humanity. Yours went and wiped off with a bunch of high schoolers and ended up accomplishing nothing in her life before she was abandoned to the light novels.
You know what? Sometime we're gonna watch Rebellion together.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't wait.
I haven't heard you give one positive thing towards your Haruhi god.
Caleb, Haruhi wants to make the world more fun.
By demanding that everyone follows her like a freaking Nazi?
No. You can say that she's a Nazi, or that she's just a terrible tsundere, or or you can say
she is.
She's actually an amazing tsundere. But she carries a story with an apathetic protagonist.
Yes,
and
very
we've talked
compelling.
at length about how that's just a bad idea.
Yes.
She is... How should I say this? Name one other character with the same kind of personality as Haruhi.
As Haruhi?
Yes.
Why would I want to find another character that has as bad of a personality as Haruhi?
You see, in the Haruhi franchise, not only does she introduce many amazing things, such as the Yukai and other things, taking little video games and making them actually have massive ramifications for the cosmos. But
in particular, it's over in 23 minutes, those ramifications.
Yes, and it's an amazing 23 minutes.
Yeah, in particular, Madoka's lasts for all time.
Oh, really? I thought it just got reset in like 2 minutes.
That movie is not a part of the original canon as far as I'm concerned.
Wait, have you actually watched Rebellion?
Well, it's not important. It's not important. The point is, if we had to choose between Haruhi or Madoka
Haruhi's
as her
hotter.
god, both of them are too young anyway to be considering that as a side of things. But Madoka actually did something for her followers. Haruhi is selfish.
Haruhi's every whim is obeyed because she is actually God, not just some
Nagato.
Yeah, how do you know that wasn't all just Haruhi thinking, I wish Yuki would show some more emotion sometime.
Wait, I have an idea. We can both agree on something.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
What's the greatest Disney movie of all time? Say it on 3, 2, 1.
Emperor's New Groove.
Fuck! At least if we can't agree on what the best Disney movie is, we can agree that Emperor's New Groove quotes would calm the whole thing down, bring it back to a positive place. Would you say?
I suppose.
Hey, look! The royal dresser's here!
I should tell you right now, it's kind of hard to fit. A 66-inch long and a 31 waist. Now you go.
Cusco is dead, right? Tell me Cusco's dead. I need to hear these words.
What do you need to hear those words exactly?
It's still alive!
And then you have Kronk in his little tent.
No.
The peasant.
Finally, oh, good work, Kronk.
Oh, they're so easy to make. I'll get you the recipe.
Now, to get rid of the body.
George!
Big, dumb, and tone deaf.
I am so glad I wasn't conscious for all this. Mission accomplished.
Alright, listen up. I got 3 good reasons why I should just walk away. Number 1, look at that guy. He's got that sissy stringy music thing. We've been through this. It's a harp, and you know it. Oh, right.
That's a harp,
and that's a dress.
Robe.
Reason number 2, look what I can do.
But what does that have to do with anything? No. He's got a point. Emperor's New Groove. Such an amazing movie.
That movie has been in our family for the last 6 generations.
Yeah.
So tell me, where do you find the most laughs?
Oh, I'd say just on the other side of these memes. When the shit posters use them just right, these forums sing.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Isma!
What?
Oh!
That movie is
just
so good.
It's just perfect, guys.
Like, we can actually quote it. Like,
yeah,
from
we
front
can
to
quote
back.
the whole thing. If you haven't seen The Emperor's New Groove yet, go watch it.
It's
and
an
stuff.
old classic.
That's it, basically, for the podcast section of
Yeah,
this
that-
video.
that
Thank you
wacky
for that
randomness.
ridiculous stupidity.
Yeah.
We just basically gave you a breakdown of what an average day looks like when Jacob and I are in a fandom mood.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Yes, but these questions, there's
Yes,
a lot of
the
them.
questions. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh! Since we know, Lex
Okay.
the Graceful Rival. What a title! Since we all know that Jacob is a tsundere fanboy,
This is
I would
true.
like to ask if you prefer realistic tsunderes like Christina
That's
from
right.
Steins Gate, or less realistic ones like Taiga,
The Queen of Sundays.
the Queen of Tsunderes.
I'm not
I'm
asking
because I like you or anything, Babaka.
I would say that while Taiga is not the most realistic, there are less realistic ones out there, and that is when I get really annoyed. So the more realistic, the better.
I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
William Santana asks what you think about non-conventional anime themes like gambling, battle royale, or detective. What do you like and want to see more? I would like to see...
I want to see the battle royale with Speedwagon and All Might and Comet.
Oh, yes,
that would be amazing.
Jacob, if you can adapt your book into a game, anime, movie, or series, what will you choose and why?
I mean, like,
An
okay,
anime.
like having it be a series of blockbusters would be awesome, but like as an anime, that would just be fantastic. I'd get Crispin Freeman and like Steve Bloom and all these
That would be
awesome
pretty
people to do
legit.
the voices.
All right, we have Sydney Pox. A question for Jacob. Who is your favorite character in your book? Soul.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Loki, the trickster god, asks, while many, if not all, other elements of the final 4 episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender were amazing, do you think the moral conflict Anne had regarding whether or not he should kill Ozai could be much more impactful or well done?
Oh, I thought it was rather marvelous myself.
Yes,
I mean,
indeed, quite so.
They touched on a
Cheerio.
very serious topic, and it was sort of tongue-in-cheek, given the fact that they were on Nickelodeon, by the way.
Quite so. This
And
is TVY7. We cannot kill people except they're
Exactly.
a jet, and then we make it very unclear.
Yes, so the fact that they danced around it so much, I thought was rather apropos.
Yes, but it
Given the
also
circumstances.
has a lot of symbolism in that Aang would
Yeah.
choose his way to solve the world's problems, not being bound by his past lives'
That's right.
decisions made for him.
Even
It is
though the whole
also a
bit
very
with-
good message for young children.
Yes, and granted, the bit with the lion turtle giving him the ability to take away bending was a bit out of nowhere. But the lion turtles were brought up many times in the show before, and I believe their theme music was used in the what's it, Winter Solstice?
Yes,
episode?
it was fantastic. Next question. David Shigamagi, a question, how did Death Note affect your idea of justice? Also, how difficult is to write a story with a protagonist who isn't necessarily a good person?
This question is from Mardi. Well, I would say it didn't really affect my opinion of justice at all. I basically watched Death Note thinking, yes, Light, he is. I can't wait to see him to die. yeah.
All right, it is sometimes difficult to write a story
Yes.
with a protagonist who isn't necessarily a good person.
The main reason I find Death Note to have been such a fun ride is because you were waiting for that to come up in sunlight, and because he had a rival to make such a journey interesting in L.
One Punch Man Dan. What indicators, if any, of good character dynamics can you find early on in the writing process, when you're first starting to create characters that will be interacting with each other often?
When stuff happens. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's something extreme and that breaks from the norm. Whether it's talking about conflict and people getting in fights, or comedy, or people just being like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, and they talk for a long time, or whatever. You can do a lot of different things with it.
Right. I find that adding a little bit of a discovery writing dynamic into the characters' interactions adds a little bit of perspective, as if we are the characters searching out and discovering who these other people around me are. Yes. Next question is from Emmy Quillads.
Yes.
Question
you
for
probably
Jacob.
butchered that.
Aesthetically speaking, what is your favorite armor design?
In any story, the armor I got for the cover of my book, of course.
It's so amazing.
It's
Link in the
so
description to
awesome.
the merch store. We can
Yes,
buy
yes,
hoodies
yes,
and
yes,
stuff
yes.
like that there. Shameless plugging.
But the main thing for me with armor, is that it needs to look very strong and functional, but it can't be exceptionally bulky and clunky, because then it just looks lame. Like, I don't like the StarCraft armor. That just looks dumb. I want it to appear functional, high-tech, and awesome.
Awesome.
The helmet's very important.
For when you guys write stories, do you do so under your real
This is by
names
Osbel
or
Mott.
through your pseudonyms? Well, we shall see when Jacob releases his book and he decides whether or not to add his last name into the thing.
I probably would. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of scared about when he does that, because then y'all will know who we are.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit unnerving.
Yes. And would you guys react to really short length shows and shows with like 10, 12-minute episodes like Surgery Children, for example?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
But
a little bit
we've
like...
been doing that, kind of, right?
Not really.
Oh, well,
with Rooster Teeth stuff...
kind of, but not really.
But yeah, it's tough because then it's like, how much do you actually edit down? Because then 10 minutes doesn't really seem like you're making it your own original material, especially if the episodes themselves are less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know.
We'll figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
Bilgewater Blues. Do you guys believe that the ending is paramount in anime?
The Last
and what
Reflections
is your
reference.
opinion on open-ended finales?
They can be amazing.
They can be fantastic.
But they can also be lazy.
I would say that the main thing is, as long as you're building up towards a conclusion of an arc that concludes within the ending, as long as the interpretation is the main thing that is left open-ended, then I'm good.
You don't want it
leave
to
an
feel
open-ended plot.
incomplete. If it's up to interpretation, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next question is from Pig Heaven. Why do shows like My Hero Academia and Berserk interest you on a more of a narrative perspective than other shows or stories?
Do you want to go through some first?
Specifically with those two, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between these two stories in particular.
Except that they both go on a lot onto the idea of struggle. You know,
that's
like
true.
Guts' speech in the first episode, and
That's
with
true.
Deku. Like, because, okay, for My Hero Academia, the main reason we like Deku so much is because of the struggle, and we relate to that, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, that goes well with All Might being really encouraging and stuff. And that sets it apart from a lot of the other shows where they might do something similar. I know I'm talking very quickly.
Yes,
but
it's pretty impressive.
But struggle does not necessarily mean that they have to be incompetent, as we see in Berserk.
Yes.
You know, so.
In particular, he's quite competent, and it's
Exactly.
something in particular that seems almost a little bit generic until you realize that all of this is under the pretext that in the beginning, everything went wrong.
Exactly.
So he's going to be struggling at some point, and all these little
And we saw in
minor
his backstory
struggles...
that he has struggled.
Exactly, and all these minor struggles are basically build-ups for whatever the big struggle will be that brings him towards the end that is in the beginning.
Right. Yes.
I would say Jacob Kahut asks a question. Do you have any romance-focused shows you would like to watch react to? Yes. I'm not going to tell you what.
Maybe some that I've seen that Caleb hasn't.
Yes,
They need to win some
that's
polls.
probably a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know which of them are the romance ones and which ones are just like the slice of life, whatever stuff. But I know that there's quite a few like that, and we would like to do those
soon.
Would you be interested in reading light novels, even the ones that are the source material to the shows you've already seen? Yes.
Yes, that can be a lot of fun.
But not as much as you'd think.
Yeah, not as much as you think, but it is pretty cool to see the light novels and how the anime will like improve on things, because that does happen, and I didn't really realize how much that happened until I started reading some light novels.
In particular. Little next question from Little Duck. What are some of your favorite mystery shows or books? So I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this, but I really liked Lost.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I really liked Lost as a show, and in terms of books, I was a big fan of the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle canon material that was done for Sherlock Holmes in particular. I really loved the setting that they would put in for these little mini mysteries. I don't actually have a lot of experience with the mystery genre as a whole.
Me neither. The mystery stuff they did in ReZero was pretty good, like in the earlier parts. And Disappearance was a pretty cool mystery.
That's true. Sen Ogino. When you're writing, do you aim to
Ogino.
write? Sen Ogino, thank
they
you.
said this before.
When you're writing, do you aim to write X amount of words per day like some authors, or do you have some other form of making sure you write every day? Jacob?
So I've done both. For the first draft, I really like to do the words per day, because it just helps you to sort of get it out there, turn off the internal editor, and just go. But once you get into like the editing phases, number of words doesn't really work because some things take longer
agree.
to edit than others, and sometimes you have to rewrite from scratch. So at that point, I tend to go for more of like a time per day and try and get that done as early as possible.
Right. My goal is to have a specific allotment of time. And if I've ever gone into a different form of it, I would write a character a day. And specifically with dialogue, I'm scared of writing dialogue, so I would write a paragraph of dialogue a day minimum, in addition to whatever my time specific bit is. Next question is from Thomas Rook.
Oh, wait, no, there was another one from him. Do you prefer writing stories by hand or on a computer?
Computer.
Yeah, computer. The writing by hand can be very helpful for
More
making
like
sure
taking
you have
notes.
Well, taking notes or doing it just to get the internal editor off, because it's hard to edit when you're writing it down.
That's also true.
Generally, computer.
Thomas Rook asks, do you find yourselves judging Ruby by lower standards than other shows when it comes to story and characters since it's not on TV? Well, no, that's not why. I would say we don't judge it on very low standards comparatively, but what we do judge it on is the metamorphosis show. We have shows like this where we understand that it's
come on a journey.
Yes, it's coming on a journey and it's still growing and it's getting better and more
gooder and gooder.
Yes, exactly. So yes, we do find ourselves judging it on lower standards, quote unquote, but we're not critics. So
like that's
it makes
just
our
not
job
as
a
fun.
little bit easier.
Yeah, looking at the positive for stories is always the best way to go.
Brandon T asks, also name. Well, sorry, we had to skip a couple questions here.
Yes, there were a lot of them.
Yeah. Name one Western and or Eastern philosopher you're fond of or have implemented teachings into your lives. Do
you want to go first?
Interesting. I would not like to go first.
All right. I will say Sun Tzu. If you haven't read Sun Tzu's The Art of War, it's actually very, very short, and it has a lot of good lessons for life in general and like success and stuff. Whether it's talking about like don't do prolonged campaigns, military campaigns, because it's expensive. It's like, hey, anything you're doing in life, do it quickly so that you can succeed. That way you can see that it works, and the psychological advantage is huge. Little things like that. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of like specific philosophers that I would say I've brought into the course of my life, I find that people don't think of people as philosophers if they died in the last 50 years. It has to be like people that are like 300 years dead. So I've found that there's a couple out there that I've had like philosophical gains from. I particularly find this is my most dead philosopher in some ways.
Dead philosopher.
Yes, I find that very specific aspects of Nietzsche is actually quite appropriate. He has a couple things that are a little bit but I also really enjoyed C.S. Lewis in particular. He's a very, very smart man. I would also say that you could go into some of the more, not really self-help stuff,
but like the
basically
Dale Carnegie,
the Dale Carnegie kind of stuff in particular.
Simon Sinek.
Yeah, Simon Sinek is a more recent one, and I would say that he's more along the psychology of things than the philosophy of things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think has become more and more common nowadays, is people have tended towards the psychologist area of things with understanding people rather than
looking inward rather than outward,
than the philosophy, which is understanding the world around them.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Hey, I might end up being a philosopher one day. Who knows? But I have to be dead. I have to be dead for like 300 years in order for that to be.
We'll check back in 2300.
Yeah, if any of you live that long, let me know. If any of you time travelers out there want to...
In the future, YouTube is still a thing, and you see this video. See if you count him as a philosopher.
Yeah. So, if there are any time travelers out there who would like to let us know if we
please
become
show
philosophers, please show up tomorrow. We need to give them some time, Jacob. Yeah. Show up tomorrow. Anytime, it's fine. We'll accept it, and
we'll work it into our schedule.
Yeah, totally. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. This was ridiculous. Jacob, you're gonna have a lot of fun editing this. But anyways, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.